Trade deadlines are around the corner, and I got 5 names you're going to want to target and 5 names you're going to want to sell high on in today's Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Matthew Wane. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that bell below to subscribe to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you're getting that audio source, make sure to do 3 things. Subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating, and leave us an awesome review. It really helps out. And if you want a little bit more than what we offer in this 30-minute podcast, we have some exclusive content in the insider track. Links in the description below. You also get a free 2 weeks, so you get a little tease and a little taste of what you're in store for the rest of the season. Check it out. Links in the description below. Look, I got a great episode. Not only is the real, MLB trade deadline this week, but we're coming close to fantasy trade deadlines. And this is your last couple weeks to kind of, try and improve your team, fill your holes through the means of trades. So I have players that today, that you're going to want to capitalize on and trying to trade away. And I got other players that you're going to want to try and, acquire, because it's probably either one of the last few times you're going to be able to do it. And, the caliber of player you're going to get in this trade versus off the waivers is going to be significantly different. So let's dig in. We'll go about it. I'm going to start off with guys you're going to want to trade for. And this one's a little bit of a higher price, but I'm okay with paying it. It's Logan Webb of the San Francisco 49ers. Oh my God, 49ers. I'm going to say San Francisco Giants. I still got football on the brain now that I'm prepping for fantasy season as well for that. So here's the deal. Logan Webb came out like a bat out of hell to start off the season. He was absolutely incredible. And quite honestly, has been great. But this last month has been atrocious. He has a 6.67 ERA on the month, 24 Ks through 28 innings, and a 1.62 whip. Now, it's way out of character because he's usually the picture of really great ERA. Now, every once in a while, he has a little bit of a bad couple outings, but he's been stringing quite a few. He's got 3 really bad outings in a row, and then 1 good one, and then another bad one. And then it's pretty much good, and then a couple blown up games, but that's okay. You expect that, but 3 bad ones in a row can change the swing of anybody's opinion, especially like a guy that tilts, or a team owner that tilts pretty easily. And this is the perfect time to pounce. Now, you might have to pay a premium, but I think that acquiring Logan Webb and probably the only time that he's going to be acquirable throughout the season, I think is the perfect opportunity. I have to pay 75 cents on the dollar. I'll do it. Will I give up a player that I'm going to talk about later? Yeah, absolutely. Maybe multiple of these guys if I have to. But, I'm also not going to overpay. The whole point is to buy low, not pay full premium. Look, Logan Webb has definitely fallen off a little bit, but not enough. Now, the underlying stats also prove that, things are okay. The expected ERA, yes, is a little bit higher, but it's still not bad at a 3.61. He's usually finishes anywhere from 3.5 to 3.3 on the dime. It all depends. Look, I'm really not mad at it. He's getting good movement on his fastball, getting good movement on his off-speed pitches. Yeah, his breaking balls are flat as can be, but it is what it is. He is keeping down hard contact, but needs to work on a little bit more. It's almost at 90 miles an hour, but I'd love to see it closer to 88. And I think that'll adjust because towards the earlier in the season, that was the case. He's getting guys to chase at a pretty good rate, which something that we haven't seen from him ever, really. He's never been over a K per inning in his entire career. We always thought this upside was there from the 28-year-old, but it's never come to fruition. Now, if this is him turning the corner, I'm super excited because he has all the potential in the world. Like, this kid is really good, and he's an innings eater. 204 innings last year, 216 the year before. He does go deep and stays healthy. On top of that, he always has good statistical numbers of ERAs and things like that. So if he can bring up the K per inning, it's exciting. And you see it too. He's striking out guys 25% of the time. He's not really walking guys, even though the whip is a little bit high on the season at a 1.24. This month has really affected it. He's not allowing guys to barrel, only 7.5%. He's producing a lot of ground balls, getting great extension, and those are all key factors. Then you go down a little bit deeper and you look at his sinker. His sinker is getting hit at a decent rip, honestly, at 265, but I'm not too upset with it because it's right on par with last year. He still had good success last year, so I expect nothing different. Same thing with the sweeper. Sweeper's literally this a little bit worse, but the expected batting average is a 276 versus a 310s posting. That will come in the right direction. And then his changeup is filthy at 213 batting average. And his four seam fastball is great. He just needs to throw that a little bit more, I think. Maybe take out the sweeper a little bit and throw the fastball a little bit more. Understand it's not a world beating in terms of velocity, but still it's getting great movement. And he's able to, hone in on his targets, I think, a little bit better. We'll see. Look, Logan Webb again started off like a bat out of hell. Maybe things are coming to a little bit of a mean, but I think there's also a lot of positive regression coming in the near future. So I want to acquire him. So that's really where I'm at with Logan Webb. And I think that, quite honestly, he needs to be looked at all times because if for any chance there's a buying window, I'm 100 going to be the first one in line. So let's move on. So about Austin Riley, the third baseman for the Atlanta Braves, and he's just fresh off the IL not too long ago. But it's not like he's having like an insane Austin Riley season. You know, he has a 267, batting average on the season, 51 runs, 14 bombs, 48 ribs, two stolen bases, good pace. Don't get me wrong. You know, quite honestly, 30 home run pace, but just still not the Austin Riley I would expect. You look at 23, 22, the better seasons, nearing the 40 home run upside. Like clearly we're not seeing that kind of pace. Can he get going? Sure, absolutely. Can things really turn around? Yeah. But we need to see a little bit more from him. I think that's going to happen? Yes. But the owners are frustrated this year, and on top of that, he's hurt. He just came off the IL. I think it's the perfect time to buy in. Your premium isn't going to be, you know, as much as you would have tried to trade for him earlier in the season. Now we're halfway through the season, and you know what? People have either found other ways on waivers or made trades. So he might be, you know, somebody they're not really leaning on as much, and you might be able to go out and acquire him. And if you're struggling in third base, you didn't get an elite guy, which they went pretty fast in the drafts this year. It's time to pounce. I think Austin Riley is actually obtainable this year, and I just think that Austin Riley is just going to be a fair buy overall. And like I said, we'll talk about positive regression, and I think it's coming. Look, the expected slug is actually a 476. He's crushing the ball in hard contact because his average exit velocity is 92.4 miles an hour. He's barreling 14.7% of the time, creating hard contact over 50%. Launch angle is perfect, and the bat speed is amazing. I think he's just trying to figure it out. He's, whiffing and chasing and things like that and striking out and not really walking. I think he's just trying to get in the groove. And I think, that snap can happen at any time. So I am trying to, I'm doing it in my own leagues. This isn't just advice that I'm just throwing out there. Like this is something I'm putting into practice. Austin Riley, the positive regression could come. And if it does, the pace for the second half can be outrageous for you and put you over the edge. Third base, again, has been rough. So he's somebody that you definitely want to go and try and acquire. Coming up next, I got guys like Ketel Marte, Yordan Alvarez, and more. And why I'm trying to acquire these guys all coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue, and they're the perfectly designed hats. Game Hue makes clean, no logo gear, white team inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, whether anywhere in between. I have been rocking it. Of course, it's suitable, stylish, and I could still rep my team. That pairs perfectly with my usual gear. It doesn't replace my team's logos and stuff. It just adds to the lineup. I've wanted mine more at tailgates, tea times, and just running errands. And I'm always get the compliments. It's not just a hat. I've also have split shade gloves. I made it for the golf course, or a perfect gift for a fan of everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with the code MLB15 at gamedayhue.com. That's gamedayhue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals. So now is the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because your colors speak louder than words. That's gamedayhue.com, code MLB15. Look, you want a little bit more than we offer in this 30-minute podcast? Make sure to get in on the insider track. Look, there's no better place to get a leg up on your league. Look, you want, prospect rate, call up notifications. You want to be able to ask us questions and get an answer in 24 hours. You want stats that you can kind of get that are highlighted from every episode that we feel are important. You want, I was going to say prospect rankings. Well, waiver wire rankings, knowing who to prioritize. It's the place to be. Links in the description below. You also get free 2 weeks. So check us out. All right, let's get in it. Let's go back into it. I mentioned Ketel Marte before the break. Second base for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he's been meh over the last month. Now, yes, he has 5 home runs, but he's batting a measly 222 with 9 runs and 9 bombs. Also, with the trade of Suarez and things, the upside isn't looking great, right? And this is the exact thing I'm telling the owner of Ketel Marte. Look, Ketel Marte is a phenomenal second base option. I want to get him everywhere. Now, how acquirable is he? I don't know. In all honesty, I'll pay 75 cents on the dollar. If I have a weakness at second base and I'm looking to make a push and I have depth, whether it's an a group of overperforming players, or just, you know, players where I have depth in at any position, such as like outfielder, things like that. Yeah, I'm going to go out and try and acquire Marte. I think that he's going to boost my team and to get the edge at second base. When, if you didn't pay a top, like a first 7-round pick, you didn't walk away with an elite player. You know, you ended up like a guy like Jackson Holiday, for instance, who has been serviceable, but in stints, not consistent. Whereas Ketel Marte has that ability, or he has 20 home runs on the season. I want pieces of Ketel. I think that, hey, you know, having a second baseman and having having the leg up at that position kind of makes me, can really be the difference at when it comes to September and trying to be in the playoffs. So I'm 100% going out there and trying to acquire Ketel. I think the price and the only time he's probably going to be obtainable all season long. Let's move on. Let's talk about Yordan Alvarez, the outfielder for the Houston Astros. Look, this one comes at a risk. Yeah, he's moving through, hitting progressions and things like that, but we've heard this story before twice this season already. And we are almost in August. August isn't, this weekend. This is the issue. It's hard to want to pay for a guy like this. This is risky, but I don't think you have to pay a super high price. Now, the owner might be stubborn, especially if they're in a playoff position, but they're on the fridges trying to get into the playoffs and they're not sure. Perfect team to take advantage of. Float him an offer, a decent offer, not an incredible player, an overperforming player that will help them move the needle now, that can help them now, because that's where the trade is made. And they might feel, man, I haven't gotten an offer on him that was actually half decent. Well, give him a half decent offer. That's again an overperforming player, and you might be able to walk away with him. The players later, I'll give a little insight. George Springer, for instance, perfect player to try and trade away. Yeah, he's probably been really good for you. Obviously, he's having an insane season. We'll get into why I'm saying to trade him away later. But if Yordan Alvarez comes back, yeah, he's not keeping up with Yordan. I'm sorry, Springer is not that good. Yordan is an insane talent. and he is a difference maker when he gets on the field. So Yordan Alvarez, I'd much rather take the gamble on. But there is also that world where he doesn't come back at all. So this does come with some risk, but you got to risk it to get the biscuit, and I'm making that risk. So let's keep going. Let's talk about another injured guy here, Chris Sale, starting pitcher. We all know who Chris Sale is. He's been around forever, and him going down for those Braves makes things a little bit rough. Look, fractured ribs, haven't really heard anything. He hasn't even heard of anything sort of, you know, rehab or anything like that. And he's probably going to need about, I would say, 3 weeks of rehab. Middle of August is when he's, first eligible to come back. I'm probably thinking more like last week of August. But he's somebody I want also. I'm going to make the playoffs, and I'm going to need that leg up in the playoffs. Who's going to be better than Chris Sale? Like, one of the best pitchers this season. He had a terrible start, but then really dialed in and brought his ERA from like a mid-3 all the way down to a 2.52 ERA. Sale is an incredible guy, and incredible pitcher. And I think is going to really do wonders once he returns. So I'm trying to get every piece I can of him. I'm trading for him everywhere because I think the price is actually right. This was a team's ace. He was a top 12 pitcher going off the board this year. Trading away players is something we do. There is players later that I feel can get the job done. So do it. Try and get them. I think you can get them on the cheap. So with that, this is my last sell high guy. Now it's time to switch over. This one I'm probably going to get a lot of hate mail for, and I truly don't even care. Because when I tell you to do it, you're going to be thankful if you actually listen to me. Jacob deGrom of them Rangers, starting pitcher. deGrom is having an incredible season, like by far incredible, typical deGrom-esque stuff. Look, 118 innings pitched, 122 strikeouts, 228 ERA, 0.9 whip. But, big but, the chances of deGrom finishing the season and being healthy for the playoffs, slim. I'm taking that gamble, slim, because he hasn't been healthy in years. Last time he pitched, a boatload of innings, let alone where he's at now at 118 innings, was 2019. Okay. Pre-COVID. Like, since COVID's existed in this world, he hasn't pitched over 100 innings until this year. Pitched 92 and 21. That's it. So if I'm a gambling man that hasn't pitched over 100 innings in 6 years, I think it's more likely that he's going to get hurt. So I'm going to try and move him. And the best part about this is super selling high. The name, performance, and the upside is all on your side. You could trade him and fill all your holes, all of them. You can ask for the sun, moon, and stars, especially to a team that has either some undervalued players, like players that aren't performing, like earlier in the show, or guys that are just having a rough month, that you be able to clean up and get multiple players for this guy, fill holes, and get the same production in a couple weeks. Now, I'm only doing this if my rotation is stellar. And a lot of times, deGrom was slowly creeping up that draft, ADP at the end of right at the end of draft season. But if you got him early and he's like your SP like 3 or 4, yeah, move him. Unless you're in a points leagues. That's where I'm not going to do it. Categories leagues, things like that. That is where I'm going to hold on to deGrom because I'm going to move deGrom. In points leagues, I'm hanging on because 9 out of 10 times, points leagues lean heavier on the pitching side. If it's not, it's balanced, move them. But in those leagues where pitching is pretty much heavily leaned on in terms of points production, deGrom is not a moving guy. You're hanging on to him wholeheartedly. So Jacob deGrom, for me, you're gonna sell away in those, category leagues, the head-to-head leagues, everything on this except for points. And just say, see you later. Fill them holes. Especially if you're trying to make the playoffs. You have a lot of holes, but you also have a lot of pieces that are just starting to come back. and you have the depth of pitching to do it, do it. Because you can fill holes and you can get consistent play from multiple players. Also a way to win. So deGrom, move now because he's going to do nothing for you when he's sitting on the IL in September and you're kicking yourself for not trading him. If he pitches 150 innings this year, I swear I will be baffled. Chances of that, slim none. So move Jacob deGrom. Coming up next, I got guys like George Springer and some other names that I'm actually going to leave you on a cliff, all coming up next. All right. And we are back. So let's get in it. We'll move a little faster. Merrill Kelly. You know what? Merrill Kelly, starting pitcher, has been good this year, has had some blow up games and has been, a little bit uncertain in a lot of places, has not made me feel the most comfortable owning him this season, but he's been good. Do not get me wrong. And he's been really good over the last month, 30 innings, 21 strikeouts, 235 ERA, 101 win. But the likelihood of him getting a lot of wins this year is zero. He's under a K per inning. He's never really been a K per inning guy, so you don't count him on that. And he's having a great year. 3.22 ERA on the season. Again, 2.35 ERA on the month. Looking fantastic. But I'm going to sell high on him because the likelihood of him being this good, not really. I mean, quite honestly, yeah, he's having a good year, but I don't think that Merrill Kelly is going to keep this up. And let's get in it, right? Even though he's getting great movement on everything, he's giving up hard contact a lot. Like 90.8 mile per hour hard contact on the average exit velocity. On top of that, yeah, he's getting a lot of ground balls, but not enough. Giving up hard contact 44.4% of the time. Giving barreling, allowing guys to barrel against him 8.8% of the time. And it's not like he's not walking guys either. He is. It's just it's not really reflecting on the what do you call it? On the whip as much. That's also going to start reflecting. So your numbers are going to start getting cured. And I think that paper innings are even going to become more of a gap between them. So for me, Kelly is an outright sale because I don't think that he's going to keep this production that we're expecting from him. So for me, Kelly's just got to go. And you could probably fill a couple holes with, or you can kind of pair him with, a middle tier guy to go up and trade up for a guy that could be a serious impact. And I'm totally doing that. He's also a mover in a trade that you could package with that you're also not going to give up as much because of how he's performing this season. That therefore, I also think the floor is going to fall right out from under him at some point throughout this season. So trade him and try and upgrade so you can get a better and more consistent player down the line. All right, let's move on. Mentioned it earlier, George Springer having a bounce back and a half season. Like, this is unprecedented because George Springer and the Toronto Blue Jays are just wild. And of course, as I'm recording, he goes the day-to-day tag. Right now, he was hit by a pitch in the head. Great, 96 mile per hour sinker. You know, he's probably gonna miss a week, but I'm still trying to trade him because I mean, at worst it's a concussion. Which, yeah, hey, I really hope he's okay. But you never want to see somebody get smacked in the dome piece. But I'm sure week 2 max, and he's gonna be back out there. But somebody's gonna want to buy. Like, he's having a sick season. 65 runs, 18 bombs, 57 ribs, 12 stolen bases, batting 293. This is absolutely unprecedented. 7 home runs over the last month. And I haven't seen George Springer play like this in years. And I'm one of the guys that was like a Springer lover for years. Look, he hasn't been Springer since 2019 as well. Since then, 22 home runs, 25 home runs, 21 home runs, 18 home runs, 18 home runs. Batting average since 2019, 265, 260, 267, 258, 220. And now he's going at 293, something he hasn't done in a while. The ribbies are on a way higher pace than it's been in quite some time. I mean, granted, Bo is finally started figuring things out. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just being Vlad and others on that team. So yeah, there's a little bit more opportunity for that, but this is just an outlier year that I also don't think is sustainable. And therefore, I'm trying to capitalize on that because I don't think that it's going to continue. Look, everything looks great. The ex-WOB is at 404. The expected batting average is at 295, saying, hey, this is supposed to be where it is. The expected slug is at 564, but his average exit velocity is at 90 miles an hour, which is still good. Do not get me wrong. Not super elite, but enough, trust me. And he's doing everything right under the hood. Everything looks right. Just something is telling me I can't buy in. I just can't. I literally can't. The only other thing I can think of, and I'm not going to put it out there, but profile, that could be the only thing. And maybe, but no, that'll come out next season. But ultimately, like George Springer, I have to take the bet. And yeah, he's good right now, but you could sell and then get a couple guys for it and fill the holes. I'm in a lower seed, and I'm trying to get in. I'm not doing this. I'm not trading him. But if I'm sitting pretty, I got a playoff spot and I got holes I need to fill, and I get production from those spots now that I moved George Springer. Yeah, I'm doing that without even blinking. So George Springer definitely on the trade block for me. Likelihood of it continuing 50-50, but I'd rather him be on somebody else's team and fill in the holes and get production from multiple positions that I could start versus one guy I'm starting. So yeah, George Springer's a move for me. Now, this next guy also is really, really, really interesting. And I've been a fan of him for a while, and I always wondered if this would ever come. Matthew Boyd of the Chicago Cubs. Starting pitcher, and has been having a season in and a half. 118 innings pitched, 11 wins, 108 strikeouts, a 2.20 ERA with a 1.01 WHIP. Now, this would all be great if he was in his 20s or early 30s. The thing is, Matthew Boyd is a little bit older than you would expect. 34 years old and having a real breakout. Look, one, the dude has not been able to stay healthy in a very long time. Since 2019. I feel like 2019 is a magic number. I'm gonna have to play 20 and 19 this week, without a doubt. But the last time he did too, he had a 4.56 ERA. 2020, and he played nearly every start, 6.71 ERA, but that year was weird. When he played for Detroit in 21, a 3.89 ERA through 78 innings. He also hasn't really been healthy. And I'm just not seeing a world where this is sustainable. I'm sorry, it's just not. Look, he's getting great movement on his fastball and off-speed pitches. Breaking balls, not so much. Fastball is not your knock your socks off kind of type deal, but he is suppressing hard contact, getting guys to chase nearly 30% of the time, but he's not really wolfing guys. He's not producing ground balls, and he's allowing guys to barrel 8.2%. Yes, he's suppressing the hard contact and such, but it's not enough. And this is also, one of those things where it can start going in the other direction if you're not producing enough ground balls. And he's given up 10 home runs, and he's not a guy that shied away from giving up home runs in the past. Now, you say, oh, yeah, he hasn't given up a lot of home runs in a couple of years, but he also hasn't played. In 71 innings, he's given up 11 home runs in 2023. In last year, 39 innings, 4 home runs. And now this year, 10 and 118. A little bit better pace, but a guy that's given up 39 home runs in a single season, 27 home runs in a single season, that just doesn't go away. You don't just break out at age 34. It's just not possible. I'm not buying into it. And we've seen this time and time again. Guy has a great first half, has a late age breakout, and then out of nowhere falls off a cliff. This gives me Thames vibes. And with that, he needs to be moved. And you can fill the holes with trading Matthew Boyd. Trade him. Trust me, it is for the better. All right, I'm going to try and get this last guy in real quick. Taylor Ward, outfielder for the Los Angeles Angels, has been having a great season, but I've seen this story before. Him going on a great power run, being absolutely awesome, and then falling off a cliff. Now, he's doing it much longer than he's ever done it. A half a season for once. 57 runs, 24 bombs, 77 ribs, 2 stolen bases, batting a horrible 232. But over the last month, the 309. It's perfect time to sell. Perfect time to sell. We've seen this for so many times where he's just stopped performing and his performance just falls off a cliff. Why not sell off on it? It's not like he's crushing the ball. I mean, 90 miles an hour is pretty good, but not great. His expected batting average is 242, a little bit better. But what was it? 338. He's not creating hard contact, 42% of the time. Launch angles, meh. He's striking out and whiffing like crazy. Yeah, he's walking too, but not enough. Look, he's a great sell guy right now. The name has enough enticement to get somebody excited, but not enough to want to stay on my team. So sell him. See if you can sneak him in a trade, put him together and package him with another player and try and trade up. That's the best thing you can do. So tackle that and sell him as best as you can. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. It's been a good episode. I feel like I've done enough, and I hope you guys got a lot out of this. So please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, do everything you can to share the show. We truly love bringing it to you each and every day. Tom and I will be back tomorrow together for the rest of the week. Super excited for that. So with that being said, guys, peace out. Have a great rest of your day.